That's the only reason you're here?
Yes. I've thought a lot about it. And I've realized that you, me, and Arlecchino, I think this is very important. So I felt I had to come.
Well, this is a new one. I'm so moved. I can't even hold my teacup. If that's all, you can leave now.
Do you not want to be friends with me? Or is it that you prefer being co-workers?
What is this, Columbina? Are you deliberately testing my patience threshold? Right now, my politeness module is active. But if you say another word, I swear I'll shut it down.
If your politeness module was active, wouldn't you say the word please at some point?
Polonia, please see Lady Columbina to the...
Will you still invite me to your next tea party?
What?
Yes, I think you will. Bye-bye, dear Sandrome. If your politeness module was active, wouldn't you say the word please at some point?
Last time, the Wild Hunt escorted you out. Would you rather I handled it myself this...
We just wanted to, see how you were doing now that it's all over.
Why? Out of concern for my safety? I hope you didn't seriously think that the Rayhir of Solnari would be able to lay so much as a finger upon me, given how prepared I was.
Mostly because you kind of helped us out, so we just wanted to check you were okay. Looks like all your robots are fixed, huh?
Oh, don't you worry about that. Tea time is already a write-off. The visitor before you... If you're in the mood for tea, go ahead and help yourself. Otherwise, it's going to wait. My coasters are still missing in action, though. Use this notebook.
Whoa! Pretty hefty notebook.
You can ignore those. They're just dumb scribblings. I doodle and write in my free time. Sometimes I remember the distant, dreamlike past. Sometimes I imagine, and other times, I grit my teeth and note down all the crazy nonsense going on in the present. Some people do the crosswords in the news. Trying to predict the future is like daydreaming. And writing about the present just makes me furious. The past is my favorite. If nothing else, it's already set in stone, so I don't have to... Although, having said that, the only vaguely interesting memory in my past... Who else? Pretty much all the mecha and Fontaine are his personal handiwork.
Wait, are you saying you know him? Like,
I mean, I guess we were friendly enough. Yep. In fact, I'm probably the only normal person left who knew him at all. We used to chat occasionally back when he was still around. Before he passed away, he asked me to destroy all his manuscripts. I honored his request. But I did read through everything first before... I couldn't let the genius of Lord Artificer Alain Guillotin disappear like...
So... that's where the...
I just told you. Those are my equivalent of crossword puzzles. They're just dumb formulas that I solve for fun. Alain's work was like epic poetry. The formulas in my notebook are... Not that there's anything bad about them. At least, solving those riddles isn't going to hurt anyone. Except me, because I lose a few brain cells in the process. Anyway, while we're on the topic, I might as well tell you about what happened to him and his friends. Alain Guillotin had two close buddies, Renee and Jacob. They spent their childhood years together in the Narzissenkreuz Institute. They were all quite competitive, so there was some rivalry between them. But beneath the friendship and the rivalry ran something deeper. A sense of nostalgia for... Unfortunately, childhood would end. The prophecy would come true. The apocalypse would arrive. And the future would... A mad dream that would normally only capture the minds of lunatics. And if Renee and Alain had been people of lesser wits. But alas, they were some of the sharpest minds around. The first of them to fall under its spell was Renee. Against Alain's wishes, He persisted in experimenting on a mutual friend of theirs to try and save their life. Alain did not approve and parted ways with Renee. It's complicated. Alain wanted to believe that Renee only did what he did for the sake of their friendship. But when he told me about what happened, I could tell he still had some suspicions about perhaps the seed that would grow into a nightmare had already sprouted in Renee's mind. Even then, the next time they met, Renee's soul had been completely engulfed by the dream of salvation. His futile attempt to change the tide of fate only resulted in a wave that... And although that wave died down eventually, I hear that it just recently came back with a vengeance. As I understand, Renee wanted to live out his dream of salvation once more. But I'm told that the attempted resurgence finally died out for good. At long last, Renee awoke from his deluded dream. Though of course by then it was far. What do you think of Renee? Do you admire his transcendent genius? His view that any price was worth paying to achieve the lofty goal of... Or do you despise him? Dismiss him as an evil madman who wrought havoc on the lives of everyone around him. Same difference, really. Just a matter of perspective. What a cop-out. But I suspect you'd have a more incisive and insightful answer if we dug into it further. I don't like fanatics who give up their whole lives for their ideology. Maybe I could understand if Renee had just been an ordinary person. But anyway, that's enough about Renee. Now, moving on to... He managed to put a stop to the first storm whipped up by Renee. But after that, to his credit, I suppose, the loss of his family and friends was purely a tragic accident. After that, the only thing supporting his work... But although the desire to save Fontaine drove him to found the Fontaine Research Institute, Alain continued to reject any form of transcendental knowledge. I think that formulas and machines derived solely from human intellect, yet Alain's intellect was simply too great. It barely left him space. Once he realized that the end of his life was approaching, he finally accepted the truth. The Nazissenkreuz Institute needed someone, and a human being. To see its story, he quit working on his formulas. Trading, he told me that the director of the... I think that all he wanted at that time in his life was to be able to sleep deeply without being plagued by depression. By that point, at the very end, he laid down to rest in the ruin. Many years after that, tensions over competing dreams would once again cause a rift. And that is the story of two people from the Nazissenkreuz Institute. One went all in on his fantasy of salvation, without... The other sought desperately to burn bright in his life. I do sometimes want... Even the grandest tree starts as a tiny seed. They were young children with friends and family who mattered to them. Or maybe they just wanted to find something to anchor themselves. But instead, the search for their own salvation... Do you think the desire to save oneself is enough of a justification to try and save the world? The way you said that sounded just like Alain. I asked him the same question back when he was in his prime. Putting all of his... He gave the exact same answer. No elaboration. Just a quick short answer before getting... All right, tea time's over. I owe Arlecchino a favor for telling me these stories. I'll have to bring a whole sack of gifts the next time I visit the House of the Hearth. I'm gonna go tinker with Polonia now. You guys can do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't involve Polonia, exit hibernation mode. Begin diag...